Yo. It is still we about 15 minutes before April the 1st, but I wanted to do a night show because I forgot to mention this on the show earlier that I did, but I'm not doing the show tomorrow. Going out of town tomorrow morning, and I won't be back until Tuesday afternoon. So I won't do a show maybe I'll do a show tomorrow night, but I know I'm not gonna be able to do a show. So I wanted to jump on and do a show to put it out early so you guys could just kind of see how I'm looking at the games. I already looked at the games for tomorrow. It's a it's a it's a it's a few games, but it's not a ton to like. And I didn't do well tonight. Sundays, for whatever reason, have not been kind to me. I'm not sure exactly what it is, man. But the official plays that those are plays that I gave out that cashed, but I didn't take them. And these are the ones that I sent out to the members. Golden State minus the 8.5. They let If y'all watched the game, y'all know what happened, man. San Antonio went on a 9-0 run in the last minute and cut the game. We did get it back, a little bit of it back, because we did take Golden State live, but that killed the team total under for San Antonio, which was cruising towards the under. And Sacramento didn't show up until the second half of the game. I just watched that game while I was looking at the other game. So it was a tough day in the NBA. But the other plays, Cash, I talked about, like in Dallas, they smoked Houston. Said the Lakers were in a really good spot. They smoked the Brooklyn Nets. Clippers early. Zubac double in a win. All of those plays did cash if you guys were looking towards any of those. So I did lose to a little over 2.5 units, but it's NBA bad, man. We'll get it back. We do go below 40 units on the season as well. So definitely looking to get that back as well. We're just gonna jump right into it. So it's a couple games on the board for tomorrow. So first one up, we got the Portland Trail Blazers. They will be in Orlando. They're getting 16 points as a road dog in this spot. Total open at 208.5. It's down to 207.5 now. Anthony Simons continues to be out for Portland. Jeremy Grant listed as doubtful. You get a Portland team that, they're trash. Just one day's rest. This is the fourth game of a 7-game road trip for them. They're coming off a 40-point loss to the Miami Heat the other night. And on the opposite side, you get an Orlando team that's coming off somewhat like a 40-point win against the Memphis Grizzlies. And it's their 8th straight home game, final home game of an 8-game homestand as well. They should absolutely come in here and mollywop the Portland Trail Blazers. The only way that I'm looking in this game is towards the Orlando Magic. I know 16 is a big number, but I think it's a big number for a reason. No Simons. I don't see how Portland's going to be able to score. A couple things I looked at. First thing was the Miami Heat playing on the same rims over and over again as a home favorite, laying double digits. They're great. 8-0 straight up, 7-1 against the spread. They're winning these games by average of 20 points, 121 to 101. They've covered 7 in a row in this spot as well. They beat the Grizzlies by 30. They beat the Hornets by 20. They beat the Raptors by 15. Beat the Pistons by 22. Beat the Spurs by 16. Beat the Pistons by 32. So they typically win these games by margin. So I think that's absolutely in play. The other way I was looking to play this game, or the other way I think you could play this game, is the Portland team total under. I think it's 96.5. Portland actually scored 97 points when these two teams played back on October the 27th at the beginning of the season. It was 97 to 102. Orlando won that game and covered. I think it was a 4.5-point line. So if you scored 97 points then, and you got an Orlando defense that's a whole lot better now than they are then, and you had some of your better players in, this team might not score 90 points in this game. You get a total that was at 220.5 back on October the 27th. That's all the way down to 207. It's 11 points lower. Portland offense is much worse than it was then. Orlando's defense is much better than it was then. Portland also is just kind of looking into X's and O's. Portland, the only place that they're shooting the ball from is in the paint. They're 6th in rim frequency, 9th in paint frequency over the last 2 weeks. And that's where Orlando's defense has actually been the best. They're not allowing teams to score in the paint at all. So I'm not sure how Portland is going to manufacture points in this game. Orlando's the number 1 defensive rated team over the past 2 weeks. They're number 1 in forcing turnovers. They're 5th in limited offensive rebounds, which is actually the only thing that Portland does even a decent job at, is keeping teams off the board. So it's Orlando minus the 16 or nothing for me in this game. I think Orlando first half is absolutely in place as well. And I think Portland team total under 96.5 is in play. Those are the ways that I'm looking to play this game if I had to play it. Let's see. Did anybody even, let me see. I don't even know how many people watching. It's going to be a quick show because I had to get out of here. I actually got to go to bed. Let's see what y'all are saying here. What up, Jason? Andrew says, Chris, not playing. Yeah, I got to get my money back, man. Last time said, yes, sir, we back at it. What up, Fremont? Doing the late stream. Yeah, no show tomorrow, Romatic. It's no April Fool's either. It will be no show tomorrow. No show tomorrow. What up, Burns? Knicks got me. Yeah, I stayed off of that Knicks game. Yeah, Miles says the league has been difficult. It's just so many inconsistencies, man. There's so many inconsistencies. Miles, I'm glad you jumped on the Kings at halftime. I jumped on them before the halftime, and it killed me. Golden State had me hot too, Burns. Oh man, boy. I was steam coming out my ears. I was so frustrated earlier. What up, YBB? Said lab hours are great. Yeah, absolutely. Munchie Bet says, Chris with the night show, hit the like. Appreciate you, Munchie. Fergie says Orlando first half and first quarter. I like it. Rough day, guys. Them picks ain't hit. Yeah, it was a tough day, man. Sundays are, this is what I was about to say, Rob Max. Sundays are always rough, man. For whatever reason, don't matter what you cap. Even the Wizards scored 59 points in the first half against the Miami Heat without Kyle Kuzma. Jordan Poole out there having a good game. Minnesota money line burnt me. Oh man, that's tough. I told you Chicago probably had a chance to win that game. It was Chicago plus the 8.5 for nothing for me. All right, let's see. Let's keep it pushing. Appreciate everybody for tapping in though. Let's go on to the next game. So we got it's a couple more games. We got the Brooklyn Nets. They will be traveling to Indiana to take on the Pacers. This line opened at when I first started capping the game was at 10.5. Then I checked back, it's at 12.5. So it's probably gonna go all the way up to 13. This is the first of a little mini back-to-back series. I think that's important to mention. These two teams will play again. I think it's on Wednesday or Thursday. They'll play again, and I think that game will be in Brooklyn. And of course, Indiana just beat them. They beat them 121 to 100. Beat them by 21 points, laying 8 points back on the 16th. So exactly 2 weeks ago. And that game went under the 228.5 because the Indiana Pacers really locked this Brooklyn Nets defense up, this Brooklyn Nets offense up. So you get a Brooklyn team, second leg of a back-to-back, third game in 4 nights, and a fourth game in 6 nights for the Brooklyn Nets. This team is 12 and 26 straight up, and 13 and 24 against the spread on the road, which is why you see them laying why you see them catching so many points. Also just 4 and 6 straight up and against the spread in their last 10. I told you guys they probably going to come out super flat after hitting 17 3-pointers against the Chicago Bulls. And that's exactly what they did. The Lakers were winning 26-6 in the first quarter in this game, and they never looked back. I think it was like 31-11 at the end of the first quarter. So yeah, Brooklyn, they struggle, and they're gonna struggle. I think they're gonna struggle again tomorrow. 4-8 straight up, 4-7-1 against the spread when they're playing unrested this season. And the Pacers at the crib been chilling, 22-15 at home. Typically, you don't want to lay these big numbers with the Pacers. I know I'm not into laying big numbers because they are just 19-16-2 against the spread at home. But I think if I'm playing the game, and I didn't dive too deep into this one, it's Pacers team total over or nothing for me in this spot. One thing I did look at was when the Pacers were playing against unrested teams, they're averaging 125 points. If you have to play the Pacers and you're unrested and you had a game the day before, good luck to your defense. Pacers scoring 125 points per game in this spot. When they're playing an unrested opponent, they love to push the pace. We got to remember that as well. So when I was, one of the things that really caught my eye, or I mean, that just kind of stand out in general, is that when I look at the Brooklyn Nets offense, and I said this earlier when it came to the Lakers game, Lakers offense and the Pacers offense got a couple things in common. The biggest thing is that they like to get out and run in transition, and the Brooklyn Nets offense does not do a good job of limiting that. And the Lakers didn't even, I think they only had 15 transition points today, but the Pacers will get out and run. The Brooklyn Nets defense has not been great against, hold on, let me just change something real quick. The Brooklyn Nets offense, the Brooklyn Nets defense has not been good against the Brooklyn Nets defense has not been good against transition, is what I'm trying to say. So on the season, no, I'm not even on the season. Over the last 10 games, the Pacers are third in transition frequency, and they're about 18th in points scored per possessions via the fast break. Brooklyn is 21st in frequency on the defensive end, and they're allowing teams to score the 10th most points uh, per possession in transition. So now you take into factor that they're on the second leg of a back-to-back, third game of 4 nights, and a fourth and six. The Pacers should really be able to get whatever it is that they want. The other thing we got to keep in mind is that, or the other thing that I looked into, is that the Pacers really love to attack the rim. That's the other thing they got in common with the Lakers. The Pacers are 16th in rim frequency, but 5th in rim accuracy, 3rd in paint frequency, and 7th in paint accuracy over the last 2 weeks. The Brooklyn Nets struggle in that department, gave up a ton of points in the paint to the Lakers tonight. I think it was 48 to be exact. And they're 18th in frequency and 23rd in opponent rim accuracy over the past 2 weeks. So that's where they're giving up a ton of shots. And the strong suit for this Brooklyn Nets defense is their ability to stop teams from shooting threes. Their 3-point defense has been good. I talked about this earlier as well in the matchup against the Lakers. They're 6th in overall 3-point in opponent 3-point accuracy, allowing teams to shoot just 33% over the last 2 weeks, 7th and above the break 3 accuracy, and 6th in corner 3 accuracy, opponent corner 3 accuracy. But the Pacers don't shoot a ton of threes. The Pacers are shooting the 6th fewest above the break threes and the 23rd fewest threes overall. They're attacking the rim, shooting a lot of mid-range shots, and that does not bode well for this Brooklyn Nets offense, this Brooklyn Nets defense. So, and on the opposite side, and one of the reasons why the Pacers smoked them so bad in that last game is that the Brooklyn Nets shoot a ton of jump shots, a ton of 3-pointers. And just like the Brooklyn Nets, the Pacers are also a really good team against the 3-point line. So this is not the greatest matchup, and especially for an Indiana Pacers, a Brooklyn Nets team that's on the second leg of a back-to-back. This is not the team you want to see when all you do is rely on 3-pointers, and they have a really good 3-point defense, and you can't stop transition. And we know that the Pacers want to get out and push. So probably team total over is the way that I would look. I'm not sure how much defense the Nets are going to want to score in this spot, but that's the way I would be looking to play it. Is real quick, let me just check that. So Pacers, the Brooklyn Nets are 7th in corner 3 frequency last 2 weeks, 10th and above the break 3 frequency last 2 weeks, 9th in overall 3-point frequency last 2 weeks. The Pacers are limiting teams to the fewest threes allowed, the fewest above the break threes allowed, and the 5th fewest corner threes. So it might even be, it might even be a Brooklyn team total under, more so than a Pacers team total. Brooklyn team total under. Real quick, let me check and see what that number is. 107.5. Brooklyn team total under 107.5. Looks like it's on BetMGM, ESPN Bet and DraftKings right now. I think I'll probably stay away from the spread, but yeah, Brooklyn's probably gonna get smoked tomorrow. Those are my thoughts, and I gave you guys the numbers why. Any looks on this game? What are you guys seeing here? We got to start getting ready for the WNBA. LF3 says we're getting all our money back. We're going to get our money back this year. We're going to get our money back soon, LF3. And we're still up. Like, this hasn't been a great week, but, we're still up on the season, up, a little over 37 units. And just depending on when you join. But, yeah, WNBA, I'm excited for it. Definitely excited for WNBA. Guru likes 8 points and his rebounds. I don't know about that, man. Says, man, how did the Raptors win over? I mean, yeah, Tyrese Maxey got ruled out, and the Philadelphia Sixers scored more points than they typically would with Maxey and Embiid. And that's what happens on Sundays, though. Tyler says Pacers are nice. Steven says I would only lean Magic, but 16 is worrying because Blazers are G League who still play hard during garbage time. They didn't play hard during garbage time last time, Steven. They lost by 40. They lost by 40. Andrew says Orlando player props. It's really hard to bet Orlando player props, Andrew. I know I got Jalen Suggs right on Friday night, but it's really difficult to because they just all contribute. Like you never know who's going to play the minutes. Jeremy says, so let's take Pacers first half in cash. I could definitely see it. Estai says, can't stay, but wanted to say what's up. Cash and time again. Appreciate you, Estai. I hope you cash as well, my brother. Munchie says, seems like a Pacers first half spot. Tomorrow says he took the Pacers minus the 9.5. Nets, one of the worst ATS team on back-to-backs. I told you guys what that number was. I think it was 4-6. 4-8 straight up, 4-7-1 against the spread when they're playing unrested. Tyler says staying off that spread. Pacers too hard to trust at a high number. Yeah, the Pacers can be difficult to trust. I don't really like taking them as a home favorite, laying so many points. Let's see when the Pacers are laying double digits, though. Pacers as a double-digit favorite they are 4-2 though, 4-2 straight up and against the spread, winning by average of 20 points per game. They lost to the Trailblazers outright, 114-110. They lost to the Hornets, 111-110. That game was on the road. I remember being on the Hornets in that spot, but they smoked the Hornets in another game by 31. They beat the Hornets again. So played the Hornets. They've been favored against the Hornets 3 times, laying double digits. So they beat the Hornets by 31. They beat the Hornets by 16. They beat the Pistons by 14. And they beat the Pistons again by 19. So the covers came against the Hornets, the Pistons. And they're 5-1 to the under in that spot. So there you go. Pacers 4-2 against the spread, laying 10 points. And let's see, how many times have they been at home in this spot? 3 times they've been at home, 2-1. Beat the Hornets and the Pistons, covered both numbers, lost to the Trailblazers. So there you go, Tyler. Dante says, if you like that team total over for the Pacers, you like the team total under for the Nets, why not lay the points? I may, Dante. I may, but I think if I'm trying to figure out how I want to play it. The team total over made the most sense in the very beginning, but we're looking at what? I didn't even write the number down. This number for the Pacers is 120.5. Yeah, I like that. I do like that. So Brooklyn team total 107.5. Indiana team total over 120.5. I think they score 122 points. But remember, I just told you guys they beat them 121-100 in the last game. And it's just a bad matchup for Brooklyn. So maybe look towards Brooklyn team total to go under. Tomorrow says Pacers, one of the best ATS teams off 2 to 3 days rest. I didn't even look at that, but you're right, Tomorrow. I remember looking into that angle earlier. Sir Goat says 2-team of Bulls and Suns money line parlay. Absolutely not. I'm not taking the Suns. I told you guys I'm off of that, but don't let me talk you off. Tomorrow says Magic 15-1 against the spread as a home team versus a team with the less than 50% record. Love it, Tomorrow. And I gave you guys the numbers as well. They're 7-1 straight up and against the spread when they're home favorite, laying 10 points, winning by average of 20. So yeah, it's definitely Magic or nothing in that game. All right, let's keep pushing to the next game. We got a couple more. Next one we got up is the Boston Celtics and the Charlotte Hornets. Another game that I won't spend too much time on just because it's not that much of a meaningful game. I will mention this, that the Boston Celtics have listed Kristaps Porzingis and Jaylen Brown as questionable. They probably won't play. Why would they play? They got a big game coming up against OKC on Wednesday. You get a Celtics team off 1 day's rest. It's the last game of a 6-game road trip. And granted, they could probably rest all 5 of their starters and still win this game. Now, Charlotte, they did get a cover tonight against I think they lost by 12. Scored 118 points, still gave up 130 to the Clippers, but they did cover that big number. And that was more so the Clippers just not being locked in. I'm not sure how locked in the Celtics going to be either, but I'll mention this, that Charlotte did beat Boston earlier this season, back on November the 23rd, as a 9-point home dog in an overtime game that went over to 235. So you get a Charlotte team, of course, second leg of a back-to-back, third game in 4 nights, and it's a 4th game in 6 nights for Charlotte Hornets as well. It's the 4th straight road home game for them. And they're just 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 games. So looking into this one, we talked about this. One thing Charlotte really struggles with is rebounding the basketball, which is why we talked about Zubac double-double in the win in tonight's game. And I think Zubac had like 8 and 6 in the first quarter. So I know he probably finished with it. I didn't watch the end of the game. Um, but Boston got major matchup advantages in this game. The one thing that the Hornets are doing well is they have been doing a little bit better job of protecting the paint, which is, Boston, then they're not really trying to get in the paint anyway. They much rather shoot the above the break three. And you see Paul George have a really big game. Now you get a Hornets team. I gave you guys a spot already. Boston, coming off a big win against the Pelicans. I'm not sure how motivated they're going to be in this spot, but motivated or not, one thing the Celtics like to do is score points. So I think, potentially looking at the team total over, we know first half has been a monster, but they did just lose a game outright as a 17-point favorite. Now, granted, that was against the Atlanta Hawks. Charlotte has nowhere near the capabilities offensively as the Atlanta Hawks do. And I went through and looked at it. All of the starters, even Grant Williams off the bench, played 33 minutes or more. Now, granted, Brandon Williams is like, Brandon Miller is like 20 years old, 21 years old. So I'm not saying he's not going to be, can't go on a back-to-back, but their starters played heavy minutes in that game against the Clippers tonight. So Boston being the more rested team, catching the Charlotte Hornets team on the second leg of a back-to-back, I don't think I could lay to 17 just because it's a super big number. But it's still Boston. And I'm not looking towards Charlotte, especially with Boston losing the game earlier this season against this team. Boston team total is 116.5. I think that's probably the best number. If the Clippers can score 130 points, then I'm not sure why the Boston Celtics can't too. So 116.5 looks like it's over on ESPN Bet. They can score as many points as they want to in this game. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Need some sleep, says Pacers minus 12 on Bet 365. Get it now. Okay. What up, she? Rob Maddox says Hornets won the last game. They did. They won outright. Tyler says, bro, I literally watch every Charlotte game just to hear Eric Collins announce it. Eric Collins is by far my favorite commentator. He's amazing, Tyler. If I'm ever watching the Charlotte game, it's got to be him and Del Curry on the call, man. I don't care who they playing against. Even when they play the Lakers, I still listen to them call the game. So I'm right there with you. I love Eric Collins, bro. He just be yelling all the time. It's funny though. Tomorrow says Celtics team total over instead of laying the points. That's the only. I like it tomorrow. I like it. That way you don't even care. I don't think that Charlotte's gonna stop them from scoring 117 points. Stephen Rice says Celtics first quarter, first half. Hornets have been trashed first quarter. I would look there. Yeah, I would definitely look there. Maybe first quarter team total over too. Celtics are the best first quarter offense in the NBA. Best first half offense in the NBA as well. So yeah, their first quarter team total probably going to be like something like 31, 32.5. But yeah, those are the ways that I would look. Rob Maddox says total is over under 217 on DraftKings. It's already dropping then, and it's probably the Charlotte Hornets team total to go under. Tomorrow says Celtics over the 116.5 and 11 of the last 12. I got to take it right there with you. Right there. Even if they're not motivated tomorrow, they still going to want to come out and score points. Guru says Hornets one of the worst defensive teams in the league, and they're scoring, and they're terrible at scoring. I agree. And Tyler says another game. I'm staying off. Your look on the team total is enticing though. Top Dollar says Brandon Miller points, rebounds, and assists. I mean, he's the top guy right now. So yeah, I mean, if you I will say this. He always talked about how Paul George is his favorite player in the NBA. So I thought that he might go a little hard today, and he tried to. He had 22 points. He played 40 minutes, 8 for 19 shooting. He did hit 5 out of his 13 threes. I mean, but if it's not him and Miles Bridges, I mean, they only got 2 scores. That's it. Trey Mann, not really, too much of a scorer. So yeah, I mean, it's got to be one of those guys. So I couldn't talk you off. What up? He got hot takes. Free sauces, bro. Why you? I'm trying to cash free sauce, and I'm also not doing the show tomorrow. I'm gonna be out of town, so just trying to give you guys some insight. This game, we will not be on this one long. So the Grizzlies will be in Detroit tomorrow. Boy, it's the 1-800 gambler game. Desmond Bain listed out. Santi Aldama listed as questionable. Memphis 1 day's rest, second of a 3-game road trip for them. They're just 2-8 straight up in their last 10 games and 4-6 against the spread. They also 0-3 straight up and against the spread in their last 3. All of them are losses by double digits as well. And they got a game against the Milwaukee Bucks on Wednesday. For Detroit, the reason why you can't play it, even if you were interested in play it, you got Cade listed as questionable, which they probably going to do that every single game now. Fontecchio already listed as out. And for Detroit, first game back home off a 3-game road trip, 2 days of rest. They go back on the road for another 3 games after this one-off home game. And of course, they just won by 9 against the Washington Wizards in DC. So they are the more rested team in this spot. Memphis has owned them, though. I think Memphis has won 8 of the last 10 games. I don't have anything on this game, if I'm being honest with you guys, man. Top dollar. I'm right here with you. Maybe during rebounds. That's the only way I would look. Memphis has struggled to rebound the basketball as of late. They're giving up a ton of points, specifically to jump shooters, which is why we talked about Orlando potentially getting there, having some positive shooting regression in that game on Saturday, and they did. But Detroit can't shoot, so this is a primetime under game maybe. Detroit has no consistent jump shooters at all. So it's really hard to play this game. I can't lay 3 points with Detroit. I don't want to take 3 points with Memphis. I'm off this game, man. I hope you guys find a better way to bet it if you are interested than anything that I can tell you to do. Let's move on to, I think it's 2 more games. This is the game that I actually do like. And it's the Atlanta Hawks and Chicago Bulls. This line is, I think it's still 3 in favor of Chicago. And the total coming down, it opened at 224. I saw it come down to 223.5 right before I started doing the graphic. So on the Atlanta side, you got Jalen Johnson listed as questionable. Of course, he missed the game on Saturday against the Milwaukee Bucks. And then you got him 1 day's rest, but this still is a 4th game in 6 nights for Atlanta. And they had the overtime game in there as well. So they probably still a little tired. Bogdanovich had a big game, on Saturday night as well. I think he had like 40. DeJounte Murray went for 44 the night before. Excuse me. And the Atlanta Hawks are trash on the road. 14-22 straight up, 12-23 against the spread on the road. Just 5-5 straight up and against the spread in their last 10 games as well. On the Chicago side, this team's going to be on the second leg of a back-to-back, traveling, of course, from Minnesota to back home to Chicago, where they did just get a win. And I was looking into that too. All of their starters played at least 33 minutes for the Bulls tonight. Every single one of them. They're coming off the upset win, of course. They were 8.5-point dogs. So you would think that it could be a letdown spot for the Chicago Bulls here. They shot 59% from 3 versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. And Alex Caruso hit 7 of them. Career high 7 made 3-pointers for Alex Caruso tonight against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So it's got to be some regression, right? But do you trust Atlanta to really be able to go in and get stops? And 3 is close enough to winning the game. Like, can they keep it within a possession? I think that they potentially can. Do I want to put my money on it? Not really. The Atlanta Hawks, Chicago, you like to play them more on the road, and you like to play them more as a dog because they've been so wildly inconsistent. 19-19 straight up at home. That lets you know they win 1, they lose 1. They win 1, they lose 1 until you get to 19 on both sides. 17, 20, and 1 against the spread at home. Just 4-6 straight up, 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 games. They're also only 6-10 straight up and 7-9 against the spread after they won as a dog. Now, remember, when I did the show earlier today, I talked about the trends of them, how they play coming off a loss as a favorite. Because remember, they just lost to the Nets. What do? They go in and beat the Minnesota Timberwolves as a dog. This is a team that's so Jekyll and Hyde bad. You good luck ever trying to get the Bulls right. They do play well against Atlanta. They are 7-3 straight up, 8-2 against the spread in the last 10 head-to-head matchups. And they beat the Bulls. They beat the Hawks 136-126 back on February the 12th. And they beat them 113-118 in Chicago as a 2.5-point dog as well. So you do get a double revenge spot here for the Atlanta Hawks. I think it's an over game. I know I talked about this early on the morning show. The playoff seeding has a lot of implications for playoff seeding for this game because both of these teams are fighting to host the play-in, the last play-in spot. They want to you want to host that game. If you're the Bulls, you want it to be in Chicago. If you're Atlanta, you want it to be in Atlanta. So this game does mean a lot. I just think that it's an over game, especially if Jalen Johnson comes back, because it'll help the Atlanta Hawks offense so much. In the total in this one, I just think it's a tad bit too low. I think also the Bulls coming back, second leg of a back-to-back, I think they'll be a little red, not they'll have tired legs. In Atlanta, the one thing that they have been doing is shooting a ton of threes. What does Chicago struggle to do? Defend the three-point line, which is why they lost to the Brooklyn Nets and gave up 19 threes. The Minnesota Timberwolves, not a great three-point shooting team, and they couldn't take advantage of the Chicago Bulls defense in that department. Atlanta shoots a ton of threes. Bogdanovich, DeJounte Murray, you name it, DeAndre Hunter, everybody that's Wesley Matthews, all of those guys going to shoot a ton of threes. Chicago they're going to struggle to defend the three-point line. And they're unrested, coming off a win as a dog. Like I said, the Bulls 8-4 to the over when they're playing unrested this season, including 5-0 in their last 5. Atlanta, number 3 rated offense last 5 games. Bulls, 22nd defensive rated team last 5 games. And the Bulls are also a 10th rated offensive team. So they should be able to score against Atlanta as well, because Atlanta's not good offensively. And last thing, Bulls, 4-1 to the over as a Atlanta 4-1 to the over as a road dog since the All-Star break on the second half of the season. So I like the over. Let it come down to whatever it's going to come down to, and then that's when I'm willing to get involved. Chicago, Atlanta, probably my favorite play. Well, actually, it is my favorite play. If I had one play, it would be the over in this game. Let's see what you guys think about it. Guru says, nah. BJ says Bulls money line. He's now interested in playing the side. He just want the Bulls to win. Tyler says, interesting line, clearly influenced by the Hawks' recent success versus the Celtics, right? I don't think so. I think the Bulls have to be a favorite, but I mean, 3 points typically given for home court. So what the line is saying is that if this was played on a neutral site, then it'd be a pick 'em, right? I mean, you get 3 points for home court. They probably took away a point for the travel because the Bulls are traveling back from Minnesota. So maybe the Bulls should be laying 4 here. I don't think it's too much there though, Tyler. Guru says Atlanta money line. They've been playing tougher competition and coming off for the rest. I could see it. I can't trust them with my money, but I could see it. Stacy says love an early show so we can get to the better lines. I appreciate that. Stacy, Young OG says I like them Bulls to cover. Young OG says he took them. KCN says Suns, Hawks +2, and Detroit money line bag it. Okay. Any thoughts on ISU and nah, no thoughts at all. It's gonna be good games though. I will be watching. I'm a big women's basketball fan. Yeah. Yo, can you add Atlanta Braves to your parlay? I don't have a parlay. Need some sleep says Hawk teams total over for me. I could see that as well. They should be able to score. Fahrenheit likes DeRozan 24 points. Even on the second leg of that back-to-back, Fahrenheit, you still like it? I know he played DeRozan. I was looking at his minutes. DeRozan did he play 40 tonight? Played 39 and shot 11 for 23 and had 27 points. And Kobe White had 41. This is one of the reasons why I think Atlanta's going to be able to score tomorrow, is because Chicago starters all play heavy minutes. Like I said, they all played 33 minutes or more. Vucevic had 33 minutes and 19 points. What else y'all saying? Appreciate you, Fahrenheit, for reminding people to like, comment, and share. Munchie says looking like money coming in on the Hawks, which it should. Can't trust the Bulls laying points at home, in my opinion. BJ says he's interested in the Hawks and the Pelicans and the Suns. All right, well, let's move on to the next game then. I think that's the last game on the board. It is Suns and the Pelicans. I saw the line open at 1, in favor of the Suns as short road favorites. So they really just need to go in here and win the game. This is an NBA TV game, and this game has a lot of playoff implications. I think the Pelicans are just 2 games above the Phoenix Suns in the standings, so Phoenix actually got a chance to catch up with them and get out of the play-in if they can handle their business. And lately, they have not. I wouldn't say that they haven't. I would say that I don't think the Phoenix Suns have an identity. Put it like that. They win one, they lose one. They win one, they lose one. I was on them against the Oklahoma City Thunder on Friday night, and they got smoked. And Coach Frank Vogel did say that they worked on their defense, sitting down in the shell, at practice. So maybe they come out and play a little bit of defense in this spot. They did have 2 days of rest compared to the Pelicans, who only have 1 day's rest. I think on the injury report, Phoenix, they should have everybody in this game as well. And it's the last game of a 5-game road trip. Like I said, they're coming off a 25-point loss as a 2-point favorite. And they're just 20-17 on the road. But really you just need them to win the game. They're also just 16-20-1 against the spread on the road. And one thing I did look at, though, because they've been so wildly inconsistent, is off a loss after the All-Star break. And like I said, they win one, they lose one, right? So when they lose, they typically do bounce back. I'll get the Pelicans that. I told you guys I'm not betting their games, and I'm standing by that. I'm not betting the Pelicans game. I'm not taking them. I'm not fading them. 6-2 straight up, 5-3 against the spread are the Pelicans after a loss since the All-Star break. Now on the Pelicans, that's the Phoenix Suns. On the Pelican side, Jose Alvarado and Brandon Ingram are still going to be out. I said they're coming off 1 day's rest. It's the 4th straight home game of a 6-game homestand, so they haven't had to travel anywhere. And of course, they're coming off that game, their loss against the Boston Celtics, where they just kind of ran out of gas in the second and third quarter before they were able to fight back a little bit in the fourth. This team is also really good coming off a loss since the All-Star break. 5-1 straight up and against the spread are the Pelicans when they've lost a game since the All-Star break. And they also have the head-to-head revenge spot as well. They lost to this Phoenix Suns team. That game was actually in New Orleans as well, 123-109 back on January 19th. The Phoenix Suns were actually 2.5-point road dogs in that spot, and they smoked the Pelicans. I was on the Pelicans in that spot. They took my money, and it was a Devin Booker game. Devin Booker shot the ball tremendously, and he never really looked back in that game. And that was, with the Pelicans had Brandon Ingram. Now it's no Brandon Ingram, no Jose Alvarado. This kind of feels like the Suns should win the game, but I'm not putting my money on them. I think what I want to do is I want to play the total to go under. I saw it open at 225. I see it's already coming down to 224.5. Both of these teams have been excellent defensively off a loss since the All-Star break. And we know the Pelicans pride themselves on the defensive end. Also, without Brandon Ingram, their offense, can really struggle against teams that want to play defense. Now, do the Phoenix Suns want to play defense is the question. Because they didn't want to in their last game against the SGA-less Oklahoma City Thunder. But the Suns are 7-1 to the under, coming off a loss after the All-Star break. So that's when their defense has played a little bit better. The Pelicans, 6-0 to the under, coming off a loss after the All-Star break as well. So every single time one of these teams lose, their defense typically picks it up. This game has major playoff seeding. Like I said, it's an NBA TV game. So I like the under more than I like picking a side. But I have not placed a bet in all transparency. Let's see what you guys are seeing here. Young OG says Suns win. BJ says no BI might be an issue versus Phoenix with Durant, Booker, Bill, and Allen. I agree. BJ also says, does Pelicans have enough scoring? We know the defense there, especially at home. I'm not. If they win, BJ, it's going to have to be with their defense. Sergo says, is BI still out? He is. Let's see. Fahrenheit says, DeRozan 21, 33, 35 last 3 without rest. Okay. Got the numbers. My guy, Fahrenheit. Appreciate you for dropping those in here, Fahrenheit. Young OG says, no ball handling for the Pelicans besides CJ. It's been CJ and it's been Zion. Those are the only guys. Pelicans bench ain't it. Yeah, Hawkins is extremely inconsistent off the bench. I like Najee Marshall. I do like I like Larry Nance Jr. as well, but can they score though? They're gonna have to score against the Suns to keep up. What else y'all saying? BJ also saying McCollum and Zion not enough in my opinion. Phoenix needs this game more. Based on the Western Conference standings, they absolutely do. Free Saw says Zion over 6.5 first quarter points. And CGB says, well, guys, only ticket so far is Hawks plus the 3 for him. Jeremy says, I like the under down to 222.5. Yeah, this is my second favorite play is the under. Young OG says, I like the first half over. Pell's still shooting a ton of threes, and we know how the Suns defense play. Yeah, the Suns defense has not been trustworthy. That's the only reason I ain't locked the play in yet. But the numbers do say that they bounce back. Steven says, I like the under bet. I also like Booker points over. He has stayed under 20 his last 2 games. The scoring pattern is telling me he should bounce back. I could see that. Tomorrow says under is a good look there. Appreciate it. Appreciate that. And B just says might move on Phoenix. So yeah, it's under or nothing for me in this one. I typically been staying away from unders, not really playing too many. But we at that time of the season where it's about 8-9 games left. The playoff season comes into play, and that's typically when you see some of the best defensive efforts from some of these teams. We should have saw it from Golden State tonight, but like I said, they let San Antonio go on a 9-0 run with literally 2 minutes left in the game. So it is what it is. So top looks, I just told you guys the ones that I just told you, Atlanta and Chicago over the 223. I'm probably gonna end up playing that. I haven't placed the bet yet in all transparency, but like I said, I'm not gonna be able to do a show tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow night for Tuesday, but I know I won't be able to do a show tomorrow. And then this Phoenix and New Orleans under 220. I might put a little. These are going to be light bets. Totals are always a little bit lighter for me. But Phoenix and New Orleans under 224.5. I gave you guys the numbers and the trends there as well. But like I see Fahrenheit saying it in the chat, man. Phoenix is just so untrustworthy. When you if I don't place the bet, they'll play one of their best defensive games like they played against Denver. But if I place the bet, they'll probably let the Pelicans score 125 points. So it's difficult messing with the Pelicans, man. I mean, with the Suns. And it's probably why I'm gonna just end up staying off of that one. As you guys can see, it says considering. Those are like, leans. I haven't placed either one of these, but Atlanta, Chicago, my top spot for on the card, man. Over 223. Here's the resources that I'm using to handicap the games. As always, if you guys are interested, check those out. And if you're still here, hit the like button for me if you can. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't. The link for all my official plays are in the description below. Best of luck if you guys are tailing anything that we talked about. And enjoy the games tomorrow. Enjoy your Monday as well. Happy April 1st to everybody. Grateful to, just still be alive and being able to bet on sports. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Enjoy the day tomorrow, man. I'll catch you guys in the next one, which will probably be tomorrow night. Like I said, no shows for me tomorrow. But I will be back probably tomorrow night or on Tuesday morning. I'm out.